Hi everybody, this is Dario. Welcome back to my channel, Motley Reads. Now we have a third video in my Nonfiction November 2020 series, and this time is a prompt discovery. And for this prompt I have selected a book that is in Swedish. Unfortunately there is no English translation for this book, but I thought I want to do a video on it because it is such a fascinating story that I would like to share with you. And you know, those of you, I expect few of my Scandinavian viewers would be able, you know, to read this book in Swedish. However, it wouldn't surprise me if eventually this book came out, you know, English translation, because it's such a fascinating story and such a good book. The name of the book is Expeditionen, min kärlekshistoria, which translates The Expedition, My Love Story, by Bea Uusma. So, what is this all about? Back in 1897, this was a time of you know, industrial development and you know, optimistic time of discovery of the world. And you know, much of the world was already discovered, but the polar regions were still unexplored. And there were, you know, these races to South Pole and North Pole, and reaching, you know, these poles with different means of transportation. So this is a story about the expedition of three Swedish engineers who decided to try to reach the North Pole, flying with a balloon, fly over the North Pole, mark, you know, by dropping down a mark on the North Pole, and then fly further inland, probably in Canada, possibly in Alaska or Russia, depending on the winds. So that was the idea. 11th of July 1897, off they go with this, you know, French-built balloon. Three men. Solomon August André was the chief of expedition. He was in his early 40s. He was a chief engineer at the Royal Patent Authority in Stockholm. With him he had another fellow engineer, Mr. Knut Frenkel. And then as a third expedition member was a young, newly graduated engineer with the name Nils Strindberg. So these three men, they flew away, and they reached just a bit of a way. The balloon crashed, and they got, you know, stranded out there on the ice. So, you know, why balloon crashed? It was, you know, it was poor construction, really. You know, they didn't anticipate that the balloon will leak. You know, the gas will leak through the balloon, you know, through these, you know, tiny holes from sewing. They during the start, an accident happened, so they actually lost quite a lot of their equipment, which made it impossible to steer the balloon. Then, you know, they assumed that it's going to be, you know, sunny and shiny all the time, but it was, you know, really dull and humid weather. So balloon was very damp, and it was in you know, these humidity created, you know, a thin sheet of ice on the balloon, which actually was very heavy, and at the end of the day, the balloon crashed. So they are out there on the ice, and they calculate that they need to, you know, walk back several hundred kilometers to first, you know, place that they knew about, that was supposed to, you know, hold, you know, some necessities, and where they could get rescued. So they attempt to walk back. However, the ice is drifting all the way. So, you know, it's in 2 months of walking, they managed just to pass, you know, a small fraction. I think it was less than it was about 25 kilometers or something like that, because this ice it was always drifting in the wrong direction. So you can imagine, these guys, they are out there. They are unrealistically prepared for this expedition. They have just wool jackets on them, and they have a couple of layers of winter fashionable winter clothing that would fit much better in the streets of Stockholm than in the North Pole. They had these sporty pants that didn't even reach down. They're just below the knee, and they have woolen socks. So they have to walk on these ice sheets with the melting water, wet all the time, fighting off polar bears who are attempting to attack them all the time. Polar bears are walking around. They can walk around like for 100 kilometers over one day, looking for a prey during especially during winter months. So they had to fight off polar bears, and they carried with them, they took from the balloon lots of stuff from there, lots of unnecessary stuff, like encyclopedias and all that kind of champagne and a lot of things that they dragged with themselves on the sled. So it was really miserable expedition. So at one point they saw land, and then they managed to get to this island which is called Vitön, the White Island. They came in there, they built a camp, and that was the end of the story. Short thereafter they died. 1897 this happened. Nobody really knew about their destiny, what happened. They just disappeared, and they were not to be found. They were found first in 1930. So this is like more than 30 years after. They were found just by accident by a fishing boat got in land in the White Island and found the camp. Why they were not found is because the drifting ice is very often concentrating around the island, so boats are not able to come close. But at this particular day, water was ice free, so these guys that were out fishing, they just want to grasp the opportunity. They went in there, and then they found this camp, and it was huge sensation, worldwide sensation that these guys were found. And but still now 90 years in, after they found, we still don't know what happened. We still don't know why they died, how they died. We found, the camp. We found their skeletons and some remains of their bodies scattered around the camp. Chewed on and played by animals, by polar bears. But we don't know really what happened. So this is this whole very fascinating story. And this guy, Solomon August André, is one of the tragic historic characters. So it is very special blend of this initiative that he and they had, looking into discovering and exploring, at the same time the whole unrealistic and the really dangerous way of conduct that actually cost them their lives. So this book here, this is written by Bea Uusma. Beatrice is her name, Beatrice Uusma, and she was on this party in Stockholm, and she was bored walking around in this apartment, and then she found in a bookshelf, one of the bookshelves, a book about this expedition. She sat on the sofa, started reading it. Got really fascinated. She stole a book and left, and that was the start of her exploration journey. Bea, at this point of time, she was an illustrator, and she was very fascinated by this, and she tried to research this event in through museums, the Royal Library, the interviews with the people, and at one point, she saw that the only way to get deeper into the mysteries, to get into their bodies, and for understanding the bodies, you need to be a physician. So she went to medical school and became a doctor after this. As an adult in her 40s, she went to medical school and became a doctor, and she works as a doctor now at Karolinska Hospital, a very well known around the world actually hospital here. She's working there as a physician. So she went really to great lengths with her research, and she wrote this book, The Expedition. And this book is really it is an illustrated volume. You have lots of photographs, original photographs. The guys that were on expedition, they had the camera with them, so they photographed themselves. So this is their landing, and here is the balloon. This is just after they landed, and here we can see Niels Strindberg, the young guy, and André is here, and Frenkel was probably the one behind this camera. She wrote a really fantastic book here with total analysis of what happened, based on the diaries and based on the primarily research that was done. She went to White Island as well, managed to get land there after several attempts. She joined a polar expedition by applying for a grant to participate in a regular polar expeditions that are funded that are financed by the government. She went on a special artist grant there and managed to get to the North Pole. So she did quite a lot, and the result here is remarkable. She was going through everything and writing about her experience here using lots of original material. She also mapped day by day, and this is really quite rich analysis here, showing for every day what was the weather, temperatures, wind, what did they eat, what kind of physical activity they did, what was their psychological condition, what illness, symptoms, and injuries they have, what medications they took, other information than her comments. Day by day, and this was enabled by the access to quite a rich body of knowledge there. She also went through analysis of the bodies, expedition member by expedition member, trying to see from what was found what injuries there are, and what is the potential cause of the injuries. She went through clothing analysis, what they had there and on them, and how what condition was clothing in, and what impacted the clothes. She also went to methodically through the finds in the camp, to the things where they are and how they could have ended up there, and then finally she got through potential causes of death, right? Every cause of death, it has analysis here. So it is quite a rich analysis here. Nobody knows what happened, why it happened. She has the hypothesis, and her hypothesis is that the young guy Niels Strindberg was killed by a polar bear. potentially even Knut Frenkel was killed by polar bear, or he got really ill and died. And then André was the last guy standing, and then he took his life. Coming into the long polar winter, he realized that we'll never be able to come out from there. So that is her hypothesis. Now, I just read recently in the newspaper that there are some parts of André's diary that now can be actually analyzed further with the new modern technology, where they actually can read parts of the diary that are not readable, especially at the end of the diary. So I read just interview with her, and she's saying that there are some new information coming up, quite exciting new information that is shedding light on what happened, but that analysis is not yet done, and they will come out. She will come out with the statement further on. So we are waiting for that. So this is quite exciting. She's when you read this, you get really heartbroken when you these guys. Okay, they were foolish, but they were so enthusiastic, and you feel such a pity for them. You feel such a pity for their relatives as well, especially the story of a young Niels Strindberg. He was together with Anna Charlier. They were fiancés, and they were supposed to get married when he gets back. He never got back, obviously, and they were very much in love. She never forgot him. She got married to an Englishman after 1930, when his body was was discovered. She then let it go, and got married. Her husband was very nice man. He understood that he was always number two in her life, although they loved and respected each other. Her last wish was when she died, that she is buried together with her husband, but that they should take out the heart from her body and bury it next to Niels Strindberg in Stockholm. So that's what happened. Her husband was buried in Devon in England. She was buried next to him, and her heart was taken out, and it's now lying next to remains of Niels Strindberg in Stockholm. It's a very sad and strong story. So I really love this book, and I was very impressed by the such a passion and the methodical approach by Bea Uusma in here, producing this fantastic work. It is going to be a delight to have it in my shelf and take it out and look into it. As you can see, it is a kind of very much coffee table book. I would say there is you can just open it up and study parts of it, but reading it from cover to cover, it was true delight. Now getting across these stories, this is not my first time to get across this story. I got across this story first time. It was I think it was sometime 1998 to 1999, and it was again through Mia, my wife, who reads everything. She actually got across this story when she was at university and studying literature, and one of the classes she took was they were talking about the documentary novel, and one documentary novel that was required reading was Ingenieur Andrés Luftfärd. It is the air travel of Engineer André, and this is this book written by Per-Olof Sundman, and it is written as a novel. But it's written like a diary of if I remember right, Knut Frenkel was the only guy who didn't have who didn't keep diary. So it was written as his diary. Let me see if it was. Yeah, I think it was Knut Frenkel, if I remember right. I read it a couple of years ago. it was written like that, and it was, you know, she read it and she loved it, and she recommended to me to read it. We couldn't find the book. She, you know, she found it at the library, and then we couldn't find it after that. I think it was, you know, taken out from circulation at the library, but I found it at a used bookshop. This book, I read it, and I really loved it. I can't understand why you can't, you know, buy it in every bookstore in Sweden, because it's really a fantastic piece of literature. So this is the first time I got across this story, heartbreaking story, and I thought that the book, and I heard about, you know, when this book came out, I saw interviews with Bea Uusma, and this book came out. Let me see. It's not very long ago. It is 2014. No, when was this? 2013. It came out. When it came out, she was talking about, you know, this book she stole at the party, and I thought it was this book. But now when I read it, it's not this book. There is another book, and there is a book written 1930 when they were found. It was written. They took all the diaries, all the maps, all the original material that they found there, and they wrote a book that is basically signed. It was written by Andrea Frankel and Strindberg, 1930, and published immediately. You know, short after they were found. Obviously, so you know, so it was not this book. So I was like, when I was reading, oh my God, but you know, I need to find the other book. Of course, there is nowhere to buy. I found it at a used bookstore, but it was you know, very pricey, €100 for that book they wanted. So I was looking further, and then I found it. I found it actually in an online thrift shop. So here it is, first edition, original first edition from 1930. Here's André, Strindberg, and Frankel. You know, with this old oily paper. So it is with the photographs, and there's lots of stuff like I love this, like this maps. See. Maps and photographs from of the diaries, and the also, you know, the samples that they've been taking. There are also drawings of the camp. So this is, you know, first edition 1930, and I found it, you know, for almost no money at all. It's like, I think it costed like €10, something like that. So this, I'm so much looking forward to read this. This is yeah, look at this, you know, all the stuff that they found in their slates and everything. Everything is there. It's really cool. So yeah, and this book is called With the Eagle Towards the Pole, and the name of the balloon that they gave to the balloon was the eagle. So yeah, so but it's not about this book we are talking about. Sometime going forward, when I read it, I'm gonna make another video probably. Now we talked about this one. Excellent work by Bea Uusma. The Expeditionen, my love story, min kärlekshistoria. And for you that are native speakers of any Scandinavian language, I really recommend it to pick it up. So yeah, thank you for watching. See you. Bye.